of the commodities available in the internet is the exploitation of children. Cyber sex trafficking is a modern-day form of slavery. They are able to demand the type of sexual abuse that they would want to see on camera. With $100, I can get kids that are under 5 years old to be abused by an older person.
We just saw on that video, courtesy of International Justice Mission or IJM, a rescue operation involving 2 children. They were rescued from cyber sex trafficking. Attorney Ray, how is IJM involved in the rescue operations of children from cyber sex trafficking? Pero una sa lahat po, paki-explain nga po kung ano po ang IJM as an organization.
So ang International Justice Mission ay isang global anti-slavery organization. So we have operations all around the world working in the developing country. We have offices in 20 communities in South Asia, in Southeast Asia, Africa, and Latin America, focusing on different issues such as child sexual abuse, trafficking, and slavery. Here in the Philippines, we are focusing on the issue of online sexual exploitation of children. We have 2 offices dito sa Pilipinas, one in Metro Manila and one in Cebu. And we have been partnering with the government since 2011 to support their efforts in addressing child sexual abuse and child sex trafficking. So ginagawa namin itong pakikipagtulungan sa gobyerno by sending our multidisciplinary team of lawyers, social workers, law enforcement professionals, and other community development workers to rescue victims, identify where they are, and support the rescue efforts of our government. And we also support the government in prosecuting the criminals.
Thank you, Attorney Ray. Police Chief Master Sergeant Marcia, you have been involved in many rescue operations for cyber sex trafficking. Pwede niyo po bang ikwento sa amin, ano po yung mga most difficult and biggest operations you have been involved in?
Simula po na pumasok ako sa hanay ng pulisya, trabaho ko na po yung nagre-rescue ng mga women and children victims of abuse. But then, kung pag-uusapan natin itong cyber trafficking, iba na po yung trend. So, malaking bagay po na nagkaroon po tayo ng Philippine Internet Crimes Against Children Center,
yes,
which is based sa Kamkrame.
Yes.
Dahil ito po ay nagkaroon po ng joint agency agreement composed of different agencies like Women and Children Protection Center, the National Bureau of Investigation, the National Crime Agency, and the Australian Federal Police. So itong intent nitong agreement na ito ay to arrest, prosecute itong mga local and foreign perpetrators, and the same time, ma-identify din itong mga victims natin. So malaking tulong po na nagkaroon itong center na to, na kung saan ma-surprise natin itong mga perpetrators na kung saan itong mga kababayan natin ang kanilang binibiktima.
Ito po bang center na ito ang repository of international referrals? Bale, ibabato ng foreign law enforcers yung lead nila sa ating local law enforcers?
Yes, ma'am. Through the Office of the Cybercrime, under the Department of Justice, then ibabato sa Women and Children Protection Center.
Wow, ang ganda ng coordination, di po ba?
Yes, ma'am.
Kaya nga po makikita talaga natin ang global nature ng crime ng OSEC na ito. Transnational siya in character. Cross-border ang pag-commit ng krimen na ito. Therefore, it requires international action and international cooperation. A few years back, meron niyang celebrated case. Merong isang Australian national na nahuli ang ating kapulisan dahil nambibiktima siya ng mga bata. May sanggol pa nga siya na nabiktima. Panoorin po natin to. Subaybayan niyo ba to, Attorney Ray?
Attorney Kat, ito talaga ay isang sikat na kaso ng cyber sex trafficking or online sexual exploitation of children. At makikita natin yung mga karim-marim na ginawa nitong si Peter Gerald Scully dito sa mga batang ito na kanyang mga nabiktima. Ito kasing si Peter ay isang Australian, pero yung pagpunta niya dito sa Pilipinas, nakapagtayo siya ng isang international pedophile ring. Through the use of the dark web, binibenta niya itong mga images ng mga bata, even live streaming and pay-per-view of children being victimized sexually. Pero eventually, sa pakikipagtulungan at through the efforts of our National Bureau of Investigation, Anti-Human Trafficking Division, of course with the cooperation even of the Philippine National Police, na-identify itong si Peter as the one who is promoting this crime, who's committing this crime, at na-arrest siya noong 2015. Doon nga nakita kung ano yung mga, at naimbestigahan kung ano yung mga pinagagawa niya doon sa mga bata, hanggang sa minakita nga silang bata na kanyang pinatay at itinago at kanyang ibinaon doon sa kanyang bahay. And of course, Peter was prosecuted and convicted in 2018. Convicted for human trafficking, 5 counts of rape, and he received life imprisonment. I understand meron pa yata mga cases that are still ongoing against him.
He's said to be the world's worst pedophile. Kasama sa mga ni-rape niya, isang 18 months old baby lang eh. Doon sa video that was shown earlier, I noticed that there were some foreign operatives involved in the rescue operations.
Kat, napakahalaga talaga ng international cooperation para sa mga kasong kagaya nito. Itong case ni Peter Scully is an extreme example of a case of OSEC. Kasi yung foreign pedophile nag-travel dito sa Pilipinas to abuse physically even the child and of course produce those pornographic materials. Pero ang typical OSEC case, actually, ang pangyayari ay yung foreign customer is based in a foreign country, in a Western country, remotely, and who would communicate to a facilitator, a Filipino facilitator, who normally is related to the child, who would abuse the child, and of course, produce those sexually exploitative materials.
Pag-usapan naman natin ngayon, ano ba ang nangyayari sa mga bata during the rescue and prosecution of their parents, if the parents are the perpetrators themselves. Kuya Ted, can you please tell us what happens sa mga batang victims or survivors of OSEC kapag na-rescue na sila?
Yes, Kat. Ang mga social workers natin, kasama na yung social workers ng DSWD at saka local government units kung saan i-rescue ang mga bata. Kasama sila sa pulis ng mga pulis sa rescue. Kadalasan, lalo na kung ang perpetrator ay magulang nila, kikita mo yung mga bata na parang na-shock sila sa nangyari, umiiyak sila, yung iba ayaw sumama. Ang ginagawa ng social workers natin, pinakakalma nila itong mga batang ito. Habang dinadala sila papunta sa processing center, pinapaliwanag sa kanila na ang mga taong kasama nila ay nandoon para iligtas sila sa abuse.
Kasi traumatized pa yung mga
Traumatized sila. Na nandoon ang mga social workers para tulungan sila. Ina-assess din ng mga social workers natin ano ang kondisyon. Kasi merong mga pangyayari na may sakit ang bata, no, nilalagnat. So,
let me ask Ma'am Marcia naman, ano naman po ang challenges nyo in providing aftercare services after the rescue? before the turnover of the survivors to the DSWD, ha, Ma'am Marcia? Yung after ng rescue.
Sa part po ng law enforcement sa Women and Children Protection Center, na ako kasama mismo pagdating sa rescue operation, ang malaking challenge po sa amin bilang police officer, yung i-separate namin itong mga victim survivors sa kanilang perpetrators. Sa kanila, ang unang impression sa amin ay kasama sila sa inaaresto, which is mali ang kanilang unang impression sa amin sa Women and Children Protection Center.
Kayo ang tagapagligtas.
Yes po. Ang ano namin, lalo po kapag ang perpetrator ay relative by blood, so mahirap sa amin during the taking of sworn statement kasi paano namin sila mapagkwento sa mga pangyayari na kung saan sila ay magte-testify against sa kanilang magulang, sa relatives. So malaking bagay na katulong po namin ang mga social workers during the interview na kung saan kasama namin na mag-explain sa kanila na itong ginawa namin ay kabutihan para sa inyo, para sa hindi na kayo mapahamak at wala nang mapapahamak na mga bata na katulad niyo.
Just going back to you, Kuya Ted, I'm sure matindi ang epekto ng trauma sa mga bata. Can you please describe the short and long-term emotional and psychological impact of online sexual abuse and exploitation, and what interventions could be done kaya, Kuya Ted, to address this?
Tamang sinabi mo, Kat, na itong usae ay hindi ito maganda para sa mga kabataan natin. Yung mga dumadanas ng abuse, naranasan nila ang iba-ibang negative effect sa sarili nila. Meron physical, doon nakita natin yung sa kwento ni Peter Scully, umabot pa sa kamatayan ng iba. Kung ang isang victim medyo naabuso siya ng mahabang panahon, kung ilang paulit-ulit, nababago na ang kanyang sarili in a negative way. May mga negative behavior siya na ang sabi ng mga social workers, nakikita nila yung sexualized behavior na mga behavior na hindi angkop doon sa edad at saka developmental stage ng mga bata. Mga behavior na hindi ikakabuti ng kanilang sarili.
Matanong ko lang pala si Attorney Ray. Attorney Ray, can you describe naman the process of running after the perpetrators? Gathering the evidence? How long will it take to convict kaya the criminals?
So itong online sexual exploitation of children is really one of the darkest and vicious form of sexual exploitation that we've encountered in the field. So this is really a complex crime, and so it entails nga, kaya na sinabi natin kanina, international cooperation. So it, aside from being global, this is also hidden. This is a hidden crime because what we encounter in the field is yung mga cases na to normally happens in the confines of the residences of the perpetrators. So it's also hard to detect and investigate this crime, also facilitated by the internet or by technology, by communications technology. And so it entails, aside from cooperation, of course, high capacity and, strategic and sophisticated, even investigative techniques to even find where the children are, find where the perpetrators are, and arrest them. At kapag nangyari yon, at nakikita natin, nangyayari na yun ngayon through the international cooperation with the PICAC Center being created, stronger collaboration among different government agencies. Yun pa lang yung start ng process, pag nakita na sila at na-rescue sila, the victims need to be provided with aftercare services na na-mention ni Kuya Ted. And of course, the perpetrators need to be held to account. At of course, kailangan ma-file yung kaso.
Tama.
So, dyan naman papasok ng ating mga prosecutors working with law enforcement to file a very airtight case. At napakahirap din i-prosecute ng kasong ito dahil sabi nga natin ay napakabata ng mga biktima at ang perpetrator normally ay their very own
Related sa
parents. So
kanila.
how do you prosecute that type of crime in court? So mahalaga din talaga na kumbaga maging victim-centered yung legal process, and that's what we're doing with the government, na talagang even in the process their best interest is protected, but at the same time you get justice. Kasi yung legal case din is a very long process. During my time, nung mga early years, 10 years to finish a sex trafficking case. Pero ngayon, we saw one case, I think that was a year ago. The perpetrator was convicted in 13 days from the day of arrest because there was plea bargaining. And umamin yung perpetrator, so natapos agad yung kaso. And the perpetrator even received 20 years imprisonment. So mahaba talaga yung process, mahaba yung proseso, pero nakikita natin ngayon yung mga magagandang improvements happening in our public justice system, stronger collaboration among government agencies.
While all of this prosecution is happening while we're pursuing perpetrator accountability, in the meantime, the survivors will be turned over to the DSWD. So when we return, let us find out the primary needs of the survivors and aftercare practices of the DSWD.
Years old po ako namatay papa ko, 13 years old po ako namatay mama ko. Naiwan po ako literal na mag-isa sa bahay kasi yung mga kapatid ko nag-asawa na, nagtrabaho sa ibang lugar. Na-curious ako about sa Manila, kung anong meron sa Manila, bakit gustong-gusto ng mga kapatid kong magtrabaho doon. Kaya po nung may nag-recruit sa akin ay magtrabaho ka sa Manila, paganda dito, sa gabi pwede kang magtrabaho, sa umaga pwede kang mag-aral. Tinanggap ko po agad. Pinadalahan nila ako ng pamasahe, which is very enticing po. Tapos nung pagdating ko po dun sa trabaho na pinangako niya sa akin, hindi po yun yung trabaho na dinatnan ko. So, the day na dumating ako doon, hanggang sa na-rescue ako, nakakulong na po ako doon. Hindi lang po ako mag-isa. Marami po kaming babae. Ano po sila? Iba't ibang edad, like 8 years old, 9 years old, 13 years old, and they came from different provinces. Yung show po na magagawa niya sa isang araw is nakadepende kung ilang customers meron kayo. There are some instance na ipo-pull out nila yung isang girl sa loob ng bahay, dadalhin nila somewhere pag gusto ng customer na. So parang binibenta talaga ng literal. Nagtagal po ako sa loob ng cybersex din ng 2 months, almost 2 months. Dumating po ako sa point na gusto ko na lang magpakamatay. Habang tumatagal po ako dun, parang lalaong nawala ng pag-asa. Parang makakaalis pa ba ako dito? Kaya nung gabi na nakarinig ako ng patrol car sa neighborhood, sisigaw ako sa pintuan.